As Captain Tiernan and Lieutenant Voss unraveled humanity's darkest secret, they realized the galaxy's unspoken rule wasn't born from respect, it was born from terror. The asteroid field drifted silently behind them, its debris and twisted metal remnants a testament to their desperate victory. On the bridge of the Dagger's Edge, a heavy silence hung in the air. Captain Tierran's eyes bore into Lieutenant Aaron Voss, demanding the answer she had promised. "We've risked everything for you," Aaron said, his voice low and taut. "No more half-truths. What makes humanity so dangerous that the entire galaxy fears you?" Voss leaned against the console, her shoulders tense. She stared into the holographic star map, her thoughts miles away. Finally she spoke, her voice carrying a weight that silenced the bridge. "It starts with the Void Initiative," she began. "A secret Earth project from centuries ago. When humanity first ventured beyond our solar system, we discovered relics of civilizations that had vanished. Most were just ruins, but some were weapons." Erwin's tail lashed, his unease growing. "Weapons? What kind of weapons?" "Living weapons," Voss said, her gaze locking with his. "Organisms engineered to kill, adapt, and survive. The initiative's goal was to study them, to harness their potential for Earth's defense. But something went wrong." She paused, her hands trembling as memories clawed their way to the surface. "We didn't just study those organisms, we merged with them." The bridge erupted in murmurs as the crew processed her words. Derwinin raised a clawed hand, silencing them. "Merged?" he repeated. "You mean?" "Genetic integration," Voss confirmed. "The initiative spliced alien DNA into human volunteers, creating hybrids capable of surviving the deadliest environments and adapting to any threat. The experiment was a success, but it came at a cost." "And what was that?" Derwinin asked, his voice barely above a whisper. "The hybrids weren't just stronger or faster," Voss said. "They were predators. Their instincts overpowered their humanity. They became uncontrollable, tearing through anything and anyone in their path. The initiative tried to contain them, but the damage was done." Tierran's scales bristled. "So, the galaxy's fear of humans comes from, what?" "The possibility that these hybrids still exist." Voss shook her head. "It's not a possibility. It's a certainty. The hybrids are out there, scattered across the stars. And the Void Initiative's legacy didn't end with them. Every human alive today carries traces of that genetic experiment. It's why we're so resilient." The revelation hit Tierran like a physical blow. He'd always known humans were different. Their capacity to endure, to innovate, to survive, it was unmatched. But now he understood why. "So that's why the galaxy doesn't kill humans," he said. "Because if you push too hard, you might awaken something far worse." Voss nodded grimly. "There are stories, Captain. Whole fleets disappearing after targeting human colonies. Outposts wiped out not by humans but by something else. The Council knows the truth, but they've buried it. Better to let the galaxy think we're just lucky." Tierran's claws tapped against the armrest of his chair. He'd seen countless battles, faced enemies that would make most beings tremble, but this was different. The fear was no longer hypothetical. "And this artifact the Raiders are after?" he asked. "Does it tie back to the initiative?" "It's worse than that," Voss said. "The artifact is a control device. A way to command the hybrids. If the Raiders get their hands on it, they'll have an army that can tear the galaxy apart." Before Tierran could respond, the ship's sensors blared. The helmsman's voice cut through the tension. "Captain, we've got incoming." A single ship, fast and heavily armed. Tierran snapped into action. "Raise shields." "Voss, get to the weapons console." The human nodded and took her position, her movements sharp and precise. The enemy ship appeared on the view screen, a sleek, predatory vessel bristling with weaponry. It opened fire without warning, sending shockwaves through the Dagger's Edge. "Evasive maneuvers," Tierran ordered. "Target their engines." The Valorian ship retaliated, its cannons lighting up the void. Voss worked furiously at her console, coordinating the counterattack. Despite their efforts, the enemy ship was relentless, its weapons slicing through the Dagger's Edge like a blade. "We can't take much more of this," the helmsman warned. "We won't have to," Voss said, her voice steady. "Captain, I need you to trust me." Tierran hesitated, then nodded. "What's your plan?" "Get me close to their ship," she said. "I'll handle the rest." The Dagger's Edge surged forward, closing the distance between itself and the enemy vessel. Voss grabbed a small device from her belt and headed for the airlock. Tierran watched her go, his chest tightening with a mixture of dread and admiration. "Good luck," he murmured. As the ships collided, Their hulls locked in a deadly embrace, Voss launched herself into the void. Her suit's thrusters propelled her toward the enemy ship, her every movement calculated and precise. She landed on the hull, her magnetic boots anchoring her in place. Inside the dagger's edge, Teruinen monitored her progress. The enemy ship's weapons faltered as Voss worked, disabling its systems one by one. Then, with a final, blinding explosion, the enemy ship was no more. Voss returned to the dagger's edge, her expression grim but victorious. Teruinen met her in the airlock, his respect for the human soldier solidified. "You've earned your place here," he said. "And I've earned answers," she replied. "But we're not done yet. The artifact is still out there and we're running out of time." As the ship drifted toward its next destination, Teruinen couldn't shake the feeling that this mission would change the galaxy forever. Humanity's secrets were dangerous, but in the right hands they might also be its salvation. As the crew of the Dagger's Edge approached the artifact's resting place, they realized that unlocking its secrets would demand a sacrifice none of them were prepared to make. The coordinates led them to a derelict station orbiting a dying star. The structure's metallic surface glimmered faintly, its silhouette dwarfed by the searing light of the star it clung to. The station's design was unlike anything Teruinen or his crew had encountered. Organic curves merged with angular metal in a way that defied conventional engineering. "This is it," Voss said, her voice tight. She stared at the screen, her knuckles white as they gripped the console. "The artifact is here." Teruinen's eyes narrowed as he studied the station. "And so are our enemies. Sensors are picking up multiple signatures." The helmsman glanced up from their console. "It's the raiders. At least 4 ships, holding position around the station." Voss's jaw clenched. "They're not going to let us take it." "They won't have to," Teruinen said. "If the artifact is as dangerous as you claim, we'll destroy it before they can use it." "No," Voss said sharply. "You don't understand. Destroying it could trigger a chain reaction that—" She trailed off, her eyes shadowed. "We have to secure it. Intact." Teruinen hesitated, then nodded. "Prepare the team. We're going in." The Dagger's Edge descended toward the station, weaving through the blockade of raider ships. Voss led the boarding party, her pulse rifle slung across her back. Teruinen followed, his Valorian claws glinting in the dim light. The rest of the team consisted of the ship's best fighters, their expressions grim. As they breached the station's outer hull, the interior came into view. The corridors were lined with pulsating organic material that seemed to breathe. Faint lights flickered along the walls, casting eerie shadows. "Stay sharp," Voss whispered, her voice barely audible over the hum of the station. They moved cautiously, their weapons raised. The silence was oppressive, broken only by the faint creak of the station's structure. Then, without warning, a screech echoed through the corridor. "Contact," one of the team members shouted. The raiders attacked, their forms emerging from the shadows. The fight was brutal and chaotic, plasma bolts and kinetic rounds lighting up the darkness. Voss fought with precision, her movements a testament to her training. Beside her, Teruinen's claws tore through the enemy, his strength and speed unmatched. When the dust settled, the raiders lay defeated, but the cost was evident. 2 of the team members were down, their lifeless bodies a stark reminder of the stakes. "We keep moving," Voss said, her voice hard. "The artifact is close." The chamber housing the artifact was unlike anything they had seen. A massive, pulsating sphere of light and metal floated in the center, its surface shifting and rippling as if alive. Tendrils of energy arced from its core, connecting to the walls in an intricate web. Voss approached cautiously, her breath catching in her throat. "This is it," she said. "The control device." "And how do we neutralize it?" Teruinen asked. Voss hesitated. "We don't. The only way to ensure it doesn't fall into the wrong hands is to take it with us." "You can't be serious," Teruinen said. "That thing's a weapon. Bringing it aboard our ship is madness. Do you have a better idea?" Voss shot back. "Destroying it risks everything. This is the only way." Before Teruinen could respond, the station shuddered violently. An alarm blared and the chamber's lights dimmed. "The raiders," Voss said. "They're trying to bring the station down." "We're out of time," Teruinen growled. "Do it." Voss activated her data pad, linking it to the artifact. The device's energy flared, and the chamber filled with a deafening hum. The artifact's tendrils retracted, its light dimming as it compressed into a smaller, more stable form. Voss secured it in a containment unit just as the station began to collapse. The team raced back to the Dagger's Edge, the station structure failing around them. Explosions echoed through the corridors, debris raining down as they ran. When they finally reached the airlock, Tyrrell turned to Voss. "If this thing kills us, I'm holding you responsible," he said. Voss managed a faint smile. "Noted." The ship launched away from the station just as it imploded, the dying star consuming the remains. The artifact's containment unit pulsed faintly in the cargo bay, a silent reminder of the power they now held. On the bridge, Tyrrell and Voss stood side by side, watching the debris field on the viewscreen. "What now?" Tyrrell asked. Voss took a deep breath. "Now we find a way to ensure this never happens again. The galaxy fears us for a reason, Captain. Maybe it's time we start living up to that fear, but on our terms?" Tyrrell nodded slowly. "Let's hope your terms are better than theirs." The dagger's edge disappeared into the void, the artifact's faint glow the only witness to the promise of a future shaped by humanity's darkest truths.